It's showtime.
You blew my cover!
Crush your enemies. See them driven before you. They hear the lamentation of their women.
Oh, shit!
Episode 3 of the Summer of Schwarzenegger. We're here. We made it to the comedy episode. The whole crew is here. I'm your host, Jesse. Today we have from Mind Brain Movies, Hope.
Hi, I'm also joined by my mom's dog in the background because this is her emotional support bedroom, even though it's my office, but whatever.
Hey, you know, every house has to have a dog.
We love a guest.
And yes. And that speaking was our buddy Jeremy from the previous episode, back again.
That's me. We're continuing the trend of wearing outdated podcast shirts.
Are those episodes still available anywhere?
I don't know. A YouTube at least.
Okay. Well, might go back and listen to some at some point.
I do believe they were on the original feed still, because I used the same feed and just changed the name and details.
Gotcha. Nice. And been a while since we've had this guy with us. Patrick from Vintage Video. How are you, Patrick?
I'm doing great. It's good to be back.
Yeah, this was your idea from years ago, and we finally got around to doing it.
I don't even recall that. That's how long ago that was.
It was when we did the film rescue episode of...
Yeah, the Escape from L.A., right?
Escape from L.A. That was 2 years ago. My God, jeez. Time just flies.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
It's
and I apologize.
Like, I talk to Patrick like all the time, and I'm like, oh, he was just on. I was like, oh no, that was just me talking to him.
I recently updated my calendar of all the guest spots I've done. I was like, oh man, that was longer ago than I realized.
Yeah, it was a long time. Yep. And also, I apologize tonight if I sound a little hoarse. I'm starting to get a cold. I apologize.
Oh, okay.
Can I call you Bojack?
There's a little horse. Yeah. Although I am, since this is a comedy episode, I had to wear the comedy shirt. So.
Oh, there you go. Yep.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'm just.
I would argue you wore a comedy shirt on the last episode too.
Come on. Do the thing I asked you to do.
Technical difficulties, folks.
There we go. There, that was worth it. So yeah, see, starting early.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of that this episode between the two of us.
Yeah, something's going around. Yeah, COVID's kicking back up. Yeah, it's a mess out there.
Yep.
So yeah, episode 3, the comedy era of Schwarzenegger's career. We're not going to do all of them. Some are just not worth talking about. But there's some gems in here. There's some gems in here.
Shout out to Jingle All the Way.
Not great,
but it's fine.
I thought about putting that on here, and I was kind of like, nah.
Honestly, I'd talk more about Phil Hartman in that movie.
Right.
That's really what the big thing that's in the movie is that Phil Hartman is one of his last films.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I did watch it like last year or something. I was like, it's better than I remember.
Yeah.
I just watched the series on Hulu. It was like tragic comedies or whatever, and the Phil Hartman episode, and it talked about all that, and I was,
If you want to see a tragic episode of television, he was on news radio at the time, and they did an episode where they talked about Phil Hartman passing away, or his character passing away from a heart attack, and everybody in the cast was just crying on screen. It's like, wow, that's a hard episode to watch.
Yeah,
That's a show I've always
John
meant to go
Lovitz
back and watch.
to like replace him, kind of.
John Lovitz came in and replaced him to
But
wrap
he
out
was
the
like
series.
he was a character on the show earlier that was like threatening to jump off the building, and Phil Hartman was the one who like talked him inside, and so then that was why they brought that character back to be the replacement character.
Is that show readily available anywhere? That's one I've always wanted to get around to and never have.
I don't know about that one.
Don't
I'm
know.
not sure.
Don't know. But anyways, we're not here to talk about news radio. As much as I would love to talk about news radio, we're here to talk about the comedy era of Schwarzenegger. So this is when they're starting to get into the time when they're using his face as a very emotive joke.
Yep.
There's one from Twins that you like freeze framed and sent everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Chat.
Like, yeah, that was the best. I paused to go to the bathroom, and it was paused on the best freeze frame ever. I'll put it into the video when we get to it. It's glorious. It's the best freeze frame I think I've ever landed on.
I have a pretty good one from when I was watching Gone Baby Gone of Casey Affleck. Just like in the most like eyes rolled back in his head look. It's like some buried somewhere on my old Instagram.
Yeah. Star Wars Rebels, I got a good one of that too. But anyways, so we're gonna start out with the one that Hope requested. This is Hope's choice for this one. So take it away, Hope. This was your movie. Why do you love twins?
Dude, first off, you have Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito. You have a comedy genius with just like a lovable dude, and it's the fact of it's just such a crazy concept of these two, Schwarzenegger 6'20", built dude, and then like DeVito fucking short as shit, and then I love Danny DeVito with my whole heart, but like he ain't exactly fit,
No.
and you just have these two and they're twins, and everyone's like, that was the whole joke. It's like, oh yeah, okay, you're twins, all right.
It is literally the whole joke.
Yeah, and like, just, but like as you go in the movie, you're like, oh well, we had the same mom, but we had like 6 different donor baby daddies potentially in a petri dish somewhere. Like,
yeah, I don't think medically that works, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I mean, technically, if you put them all together, whoever swims the fastest is the winner. So,
yeah,
that's fair. That's fair.
Don't think about it too much.
Yeah,
I don't want to think about it too much. It's disgusting.
But just the fact that like, this is also one of the first times Schwarzenegger gets to just be like cute and funny.
Yeah.
Like he's not like, yes, he has like his fight scenes, and like they joke about how strong he is, like when the robber comes and he just like, because he's just holding something, the robber just like whips off and just, it's funny.
I didn't do anything. The pavement was his enemy.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, your name Joker Julia too? Like, but like, it's the fact that he could just like have fun, and you could tell he had fun. And also, I just know like some behind the scenes stories of the making of that film where apparently Danny DeVito like got him high and he didn't know, and he was like freaking out on set, like, what's happening? What is happening? Like,
dude.
Apparently they're like best buddies, which is why.
Oh yeah.
3 of these movies. They were actually in a 4th one that we're not talking about tonight because it's not very good. They were in like the 4 previous movies or following films after this one. It's like they just stayed in each other's lives for a long time until we get to the last movie we're going to talk about tonight.
Well, and then also like recently at, was it the Oscars? I think
they went on stage together.
They did. They were like, did a sketch with it, and they were both, and they made the whole joke referencing our 4th movie we're going to do, and then they turned to Michael Keaton and just it was beautiful.
Oh yeah.
I was kind of hoping for that moment that like Arnold had been like, "Are you sure that's the guy? Because he looks a little different." It's like, no, yeah, that's the guy. That's for sure the guy.
Nice.
But I truly love Twins because not only is it a comedy, but it's like such a heartwarming film.
Yeah.
Like you don't get too many heartwarming films in the 80s. Like it was like raunchy comedy or just like all out brutal action. Like you don't have too many like heartfelt comedies, and I liked that about it too.
Yeah.
So it was just like a good fun. You could tell they had fun. It was just good all around.
I also liked that it had a legitimate social message to it about how like these 2 people can come from the exact same starting point and be, afforded every possible educational privilege and having like a supportive family situation and being dropped off at, an orphanage, and how that affects your trajectory over time, and how
the true nature versus nurture question. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately their genes don't dictate where they end up in life. It really doesn't.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I hadn't seen this in the longest time, and just the fact that Arnold is so just cute and adorable, he's so out of touch with everything. Like trying to learn how to drive.
Yeah. I've only been driving for an hour. Yeah. Yeah, this is probably the first time I've seen this in like 30 years. And I'll be honest, this is a movie that only could have been made at the time it was made.
Yeah.
Probably my least favorite movie that we're talking about tonight. I didn't like. I don't say it's like, oh, it's not like a bad movie or anything, but in the terms of all this, it's just like I didn't grow up with a lot of nostalgia for this one, so revisiting it, I was kind of just like, yeah, okay, through like pretty much my entire rewatch. and later, in the next movie we're going to talk about, I just think Arnold is at a level here, just proving that he can do comedy, and he did prove it, and then he will continue to do better.
Right.
Yeah.
The whole, like, in a weird way, the first two we're going to talk about, they're both kind of fish out of water stories in a way. This one a little more so.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
yeah.
him playing the kind of naive character just didn't work as much for me. But I find some of the behind the scenes stuff a little more interesting, like the fact that they didn't take a salary for this movie, and they got instead return on the box office and ended up being a huge success. So
Right.
I think it was said he got the biggest paycheck he's ever gotten. But like him saying that, like, he bet on himself and it paid off, and like to me that's more
Yeah.
interesting than what the actual movie is.
Have you ever
Yeah.
seen Hercules in New York?
That
Oh,
one,
yeah.
There's a
No,
lot
I've
of
never
that
gotten
in this
around to that.
movie. It's
We
like-
repeatedly referenced that on the 2 previous episodes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, because it's just he's playing this like almost like a semi-god character coming down from like this laboratory with all these other perfect people, and then he comes to a big city and he meets like a short guy and he makes friends with him, and the guy offers to be his manager if he goes out into boxing. And it's
Same
like,
movie.
Both things happen,
Yeah.
the same thing happens in both movies.
Yeah.
Also,
I mean-
can we mention how much of a baller he is in this movie? He went from his first kiss to his first fuck in the same night.
Ah,
right.
Good for him. Good for him.
With
Just-
Kelly
just-
Preston, no less.
That
Yeah.
that pan face of like Schwarzenegger, like
Yeah.
just total like.
I can
ah.
guarantee they copied that for the 40-year-old virgin when he finally gets laid at the end of the movie, and it's like a minute 22 seconds, and he's just kind of like, wow. And then was it Catherine? What's her name?
Keener?
Catherine Keener. She says,
Yeah.
"Should we do it again?" And it's like 4 hours later, and he's just like,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I don't have many notes for this one. I mean, it's just a genuinely fun, cute movie. I have only 5
Cute's
notes.
a good word for it.
Yeah, it's cute. I have 5 notes. Number 1, Heather Graham cameo in the opening.
Right? Yeah.
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 I forgot
nice.
she was even here.
Yeah, she doesn't really do anything. She's gone after the first 5 minutes, but it's
Yeah.
nice to see her
That
there.
was before Heather Graham was Heather Graham, though. Like,
Oh, yeah,
that
yeah.
was like
Oh, yeah.
that was literally like her probably debut.
I think it
Like,
is. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, we have a Total Recall reunion, or not really reunion. This is 2 years before Total Recall, but the guy that plays the assassin, it's the same guy that plays Quado.
Right. Yeah.
Oh
Total
god, it
Recall.
was. I knew I recognized
It was the same guy.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
recommended him to Verhoeven.
Yeah.
And we have
Yeah,
another
probably.
Total Recall reunion coming later in these 4 movies.
That's right. That's
Oh.
right. Third one. It's nice that Starfleet Academy shows up in this movie for about 2 minutes. That was kind of cool.
Which
It's the
building
big. It's the biodome. It's the big building with all the glass.
Okay.
That's
Oh,
the
yeah,
building
yeah,
they
yeah.
use in L.A. for Starfleet Academy.
When which series did they use it for Starfleet? Or
Next
was
gen.
Oh,
It was next
okay.
gen. Next gen.
Because I actually recognized it. We just recently watched what is the movie called? Dead Heat. Have you ever seen that? It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
Treat Williams and Joe Piscopo are cops, and they live in this like crazy like RoboCop-esque crime city. And very early in the film, one of them is killed and comes back as a zombie for the rest of the film. So it's like a cop and his zombie partner fighting crime for the rest of the film. But this is the facility where it happens. But yeah,
That actually sounds amazing.
Apparently, it's like a water reclamation plant in Van Nuys.
Yeah, it's some kind of a water treatment
I
plant.
want to
yeah.
go there now because it's open to the public apparently, so it's very close
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
Field trip. Let's do it.
Yeah.
The fourth. Nope. Arnold is naive and charming. We've covered that. And the last one, Jason Reitman cameo because he was in all
Right.
of his dad's
Yeah.
movies all the way through his through puberty.
And Catherine's there too, in the same yard.
That's
but-
right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, it's a cute, fun little movie.
Dan
there was
DeVito kind of pulling a lot of weight here for me.
Right.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Also, it's been a long time since I've seen Danny DeVito not as Frank Reynolds, so it's kind of just like a breath of fresh air.
That's funny.
So anyway, I started blasting. And
Yeah.
I don't see too good, so I missed.
I wonder if he brought Catherine Reitman over for that show because I'm sure.
Oh,
like,
I
they're, like
believe
lifelong
Maybe,
friends.
yeah.
I will say there was at one point plans to do a sequel that
Right.
never happened.
Yeah.
Yeah,
know
originally
about
with
this?
Eddie Murphy, triplets.
Yeah, triplets. Another kid shows up, and it's actually a black guy, and it's Eddie Murphy. I'm kind of thankful they didn't do that. I think one's
Yeah.
enough.
Well, for a while they were going to do Tracy Morgan was replacing Eddie Murphy for it.
Yeah, I
Oh,
saw
God.
that.
Yeah,
That was like
that
5
that
years
was
ago,
talks about
but
it.
obviously Ivan Reitman has since passed away, so I wouldn't.
Yeah, and I guess like as recent as 2023 or whatever, that Schwarzenegger said Jason Reitman kind of put the kibosh on ever doing one again since his dad passed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The only one they're going to keep going with is Ghostbusters
Right,
at this
yeah.
point.
Yeah,
Because it's a big franchise. So
I also
Still
heard
haven't
that
seen that new
Jason
one.
Momoa pitched a straight remake of Twins with him and Peter Dinklage.
I think I heard about
God.
that.
you know, color me curious.
Yeah, I'd watch it.
Yeah,
If
I'd be
nothing,
curious.
but if nothing for curiosity, at least.
yeah, just the curiosity of it. So yeah, unless anybody else has anything to say about it, it's a simple movie. There's not really a lot to say about it. It's kind of just a straightforward comedy.
Like I said, I loved
yeah.
it. It was heartfelt, and it just made me feel so warm and fuzzy, and just it's fun. Like it's just like this is probably one of the better movies I'd recommend to somebody. Like 10 out of 10. Like
Yeah,
It's a good like Sunday afternoon. Sit down, watch it.
yeah. It's a rainy Sunday. You don't know what to put on. Throw on Twins. There
Yeah.
you go.
So good. Like it'll just make you feel good.
Yeah.
I was also
Speaking of
curious
feeling-
if maybe it was an intentional reference that Travolta and Sam Jackson are named Jules and Vincent in Pulp Fiction, which Danny DeVito.
Oh, yeah.
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 I mean, Tarantino, having seen every single movie under the
Right,
sun, I wouldn't put it past him. So.
Yeah.
I've been falling down a
Okay,
YouTube
excuse me.
rabbit hole of him just talking about different movies recently.
I would hate to see his letterboxd. Like it would just encompass everything.
Yeah, well, I mean, he has no social media, unfortunately. So
He's got the
Or
podcast,
fortunately.
though.
he's got the what?
He's got his podcast, the Video Archives podcast. That he
Oh yeah, that's right. He's got the podcast. But I mean, like social media, like a Instagram or anything like that. So yeah. Speaking of feeling good, I guess we'll move on to the next one. Kindergarten Cop. You have a storied history with this one, Patrick. So this one's all yours.
Sure, yeah. Kindergarten Cop is a fun one. I've always enjoyed this movie, but I do have a particular connection to it because in elementary school and up into high school, a friend of mine, Mike Wagner, his older brother Brian, would show up occasionally in movies and TV shows. And Brian is in this film. He plays the kid that eats everybody's lunches. So, he's got little cameos here and there and a bunch of stuff at the same time. I also went to school with Chad Power, who played Tum Tum in the Three Ninjas movies. So the two of them
Nice.
went back and forth like I'm in the most popular movie out of everyone in our class. So, but yeah, so that's always fun to see Brian on screen.
Nice. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I completely forgot how much Arnold's actually putting on like a real performance in this movie. I mean, yeah, he's
Right.
funny, but he's actually really trying as an actor. He's really giving it his all. Like that scene
I
in
would
the car.
say. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, well, I was saying the scene in the car where he's talking about how he has a son and hasn't seen him in a long time. Like that's a
Yeah.
really good scene. And then if the ferret comes out, it kind of breaks the tension. But yeah, I forgot this was a really, really heartfelt movie.
Yeah.
I feel like this is kind of like he's a movie star at this point.
Yeah.
And this is maybe kind of like the first time where like it's like, oh, you can put this guy in anything and he's gonna like kind of start crushing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Like
he's capable of anything at this point.
Yeah, because like there's a clear step up in his performance specifically from Twins to this, and these are his not like back-to-back comedies, but these were the two closest comedies. Like he did Twins, he did some other stuff, then he did this, and it's like worlds difference in my opinion.
Yeah.
And like worlds better. Also,
Mhm.
the birth of every soundboard ever.
I was gonna say that.
Oh god,
this one is so heavy on those prank calls. It's always
Yeah.
for Daddy and
Oh yeah, the infamous "shut up." That's
Detective John Kimball. I'm a cop,
I'm
you
the-
idiot.
I'm the party pooper. Like it's so this is maybe his most quotable movie outside of like the Terminator.
Yeah.
yeah, it probably is. Yeah, I mean when we did End of Days, hoping I did End of Days with our buddy Daryl, I spliced into the podcast version all the little quotes from this movie.
Yeah.
The infamous "shut up," and I got a screen grab of his him yelling, and he has a very expressive face.
Yeah, he's using it in this one too. Even just that shut up scene alone, it's like every muscle in his face is working.
Mhm.
Yeah, I will say the movie is a little. Now that I'm older and I haven't watched this movie in like 15 years, it's kind of mean spirited sometimes. Anybody else get that vibe? every now and again.
I
Like,
feel like
he's
that's
really
pretty
mean to these kids.
common. Yeah, that's pretty common from like movies from this era.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's definitely a film of its time for sure.
That's fair. That's fair.
But
Yeah.
you got to see that to see how he progresses at the end.
Yeah, it's another fish out of water story. He starts out as a hard edge cop, and he slowly becomes a kindergarten teacher. Leaves the force. You know, it's a very straightforward hero's journey. Basically, it's not too complex. I even made the note: the whole like kid being abducted and the whole police thing. You could drop that entirely from the movie, and the movie probably would work better if it was just about a cop trying to just become a kindergarten teacher and just it doesn't. I've always felt the whole Crisp looking for his son thing never. It always, when it just pops up, I'm like, oh god. I was really enjoying that romantic comedy until that stupid cop movie started up.
Yeah.
You are kind of right. Like that is because it always just kind of feels like at points it's almost shoved in there, even though it is the main plot of the film.
Yeah.
I keep
Anytime
telling my wife we need to shoot a sketch that's like about this poor kindergarten teacher who, you know, she's been teaching in this district for 30 years. She's like beloved by the community, and they're like, hey, so we have this thing that's going on. There's like a witness protection system. We got to keep eyes on this kid. So we're just asking someone to step in just for a couple months. And she's like, but I need the whole school year with my students, and I have this whole lesson plan that I filed. And they're like, it's just going to be a temporary thing. We just got to figure out who the dad is. We got to protect this family. And she's like, okay, fine. And then she checks back in a few months later. You're like, you know what? They really liked the cop. They're just going to let him be the kindergarten teacher now. So you can go find another job.
Yeah, she did just take her job.
She's like, but you said it was, so what, where is he, where did he get his accreditation and everything? It's like, no, he's just a cop. He's shooting guns in school and beating up parents with little to no evidence of any wrongdoing. And
several times accidentally aims guns at kids.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fine though. It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
You'll land
It's
on
fine,
your
it's
feet.
fine.
It'll be great.
They're really
Yeah.
disciplined now. It's great. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't really have much else to say. I mean, we've covered all the notes I had. Another Jason Reitman cameo, because, hey, why not?
Apparently that's his first kiss, too. He has said in
thanks, Dad.
Yeah.
Jesus.
We weren't developing fast enough, son.
Yeah, the other thing I would say that doesn't age very well when Schwarzenegger says, police, school. We're kind of struggling with cops in America right now, so that little section of the movie just doesn't age well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the last little bit, Dominic has Ghostbusters bed sheets. That's cute.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I was also going to mention, I forgot to bring it up when we were talking about twins, but that there's the scene where they dress alike, and then he asks DeVito if he looks cool, and he says, Mr. Ice.
Yes.
Which obviously we're going to come back to. And then in this one, he tells the kids to freeze when he's screaming at them at one point. So
It's
yeah.
building up.
Whatever could you mean?
The cinematic
Yeah,
universe.
whatever movie comes after that. Whatever happens. Oh, man.
Are we not going to talk about how this is a prequel to Silent Hill?
Oh, God damn it. Okay, you want to go into this, Jeremy?
Yeah.
Explain this.
The school in the first Silent Hill game is modeled after the school in this movie.
Oh,
To the point where the even posters in the movie show up in the school, in the game.
Yep.
That's funny.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Although it's called Midwich, which I think is a reference to Lovecraft. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go into a classroom and like all the paint is on one of the chalkboards, just like in the movie. It's like,
Yeah.
aren't the monsters you fight in the school? Aren't they like zombified kids or something like that?
It's
Like
been a
little
long
demon
time
kids?
since I played the first one. I don't remember actually. I think kind of, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's this movie kind of inspired a lot of different spinoffs. It got a straight to video sequel starring.
Anyone
Dolph
seen
Lundgren.
it? Just me. Okay.
Nope. Yeah, tell us all about it.
I remember little to nothing. We watched it at work because I used to work at a t-shirt shop and we just throw stuff on the TV there, and it was on Netflix or something. Like, sure, Kindergarten Cop 2. It's Dolph Lundgren. I remember it not being like as terrible as you would expect, but it is just the most bare minimum qualification for a movie that you could possibly imagine.
Now, does the villain eventually reveal herself to be the displaced kindergarten teacher from the first film?
See, that would have actually, that could have been the clear sequel setup at the end of this one.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's completely unmemorable. It's something about a flash drive. That's all I remember. They're looking for a flash drive.
One of those things. Great.
Yeah. And I remember the school being rather empty, so I can't remember if it was like if it takes place during the summer or there's just like they didn't have a lot of money, so the school's just empty all the time.
There's a lot of cardboard kids in the hallway.
Yeah, but yeah,
Hey, a lot of movies did that. A lot of movies did that. They
It's
actually
true.
used cardboard cutouts. Yeah.
but a very very uninspired movie. I cannot recommend it.
Hope. Going back and rewatching this, what were your general thoughts? Is there anything that's aged well, hasn't aged well?
I mean, it's like I was saying before, it's a product of its time, 100%. You know, it is what it is. It has its moments, but like you guys pretty much covered everything. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like there's things that are iffy, but it works for the time. But like a lot of the movies that Schwarzenegger was in, if you go back to the beginning of his career, like we have been, like, and going throughout, there's anything with time, you see the age to it, you know?
Yeah.
So but you have to find it charming for it. You can't like fault it for it.
Yeah.
So it's just the overall story that you have to like, and you do, you know, if you just have to forget certain things and aspects, but it's the overall story. It's fun. But I do think what Patrick brought up was hysterical. Like, oh yeah, he just totally stole this poor old woman's job. Like, I think that was the most like horrible part of it. Like this hardworking, loving teacher, and she just like got robbed of her job.
I wonder if he was ever in the movie or if they just decided like that's too cruel to put a face to this character. We'll just vaguely reference her so that people aren't thinking about it.
Isn't she like at the very end? Isn't she the teacher in the classroom at the very end when Schwarzenegger walks back in?
Oh, I don't know.
Is that her?
Maybe.
It might be her. Yeah. And then she just like disappears in the background. Yeah. I do think the best scene though is when they're doing who is my daddy and what does he do?
Yeah.
Making the kids say the dumbest things. Because hey, kids say the dumbest things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was a whole show back in the 90s. Kids say the darndest things. Like that's
Oh, yeah,
literally
that's
the fact
right.
of the show.
Yeah.
It was literally a show.
That's
Like,
right. Yeah.
And they do. As a father of two, they do.
Our mom says that our dad is a real sex machine. It's my favorite one.
I
Oh,
mean,
God.
it's still hard for me not to laugh at it's not a tumor. Like it's still
Yeah,
it's just such a good line.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
And again, only because it's him saying it with that accent, you know.
mhm.
Yeah, imagine anybody else in this role. Does it work?
No.
No.
It's a vehicle built just for him. Just for him.
And that's because
Yep.
he earned his way with twins. Like I'm loving this side of him because it's showing like I'm not just a muscle machine, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like Twins showed that he can do it, but Kindergarten Cop is where Ivan Reitman like learned how to use him properly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Does he actually get into any like real fist fights in this movie? I don't remember. I mean, there's some there's some shootouts, but for the most part, it's just he never like flexes or does anything like that. He's imposing over the kids when he first walks in, and he's just kind of like, "Hi."
Yeah.
I think
You
the,
could
the,
honestly
the
do
most
that with-
punching he does is that abusive dad when he goes and tackles him against the
Yeah, that's
car.
right.
and-
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
one.
But
Yeah.
then he stops himself and he's like, "No, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to sue you." And it's like, "You just attacked me and threw me against the car in front of people. Like, you're going to sue me? That doesn't make sense. You just
Well,
opened the
he's
school
got
up to a
probable
lawsuit."
cause. He
Yeah.
has probable cause. He was beating the kid.
Yeah, but it could have been the mom. He just assumed it was the dad doing it, and then he threw this guy against the car.
It's fair. It's fair. Yeah. Hope you were saying you were saying before we cut you off. What were you saying?
I have no idea.
Okay. Well, in that case, I guess we'll move on to our next one. Jeremy, you love this one. Last Action
love
Hero.
this movie.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, a movie of my childhood. I grew up. We discussed this a little bit in the last episode, but I grew up on late 80s, early 90s action films. Lethal Weapon, Predator, all those kind of movies. Aliens, Terminator 2. And Last Action Hero was just another one of those. And this is like the first time I've kind of visited it as an adult. And the opening's a little more rocky. But when they get into it, I really enjoy the fun of this movie. I'm picking up little bits more so now as an adult. but it's the transition of this kid appearing in the world. I feel like could have been handled a little better.
Sure.
And I truly feel like, you know, the movie was a bomb. It wasn't a success. And I feel like it was maybe just a little bit ahead of its time in the way it was kind of holding a mirror up to the genre. And that if this had come out like a few years later, people would have like got it a little more. But I think this is this maybe the first case of a parody working as a parody, but also just as well as a movie in that genre it's parodying?
That's possible.
Possibly?
Scream maybe is another good contender for that, because
Yeah,
I wouldn't
well,
call
that
Scream
came out
a
of-
parody, but
Scream is more meta than a
Yeah.
it's more meta. It's not a parody.
Well, this is obviously very meta too. But I think a big part of
Maybe
what
Airplane. Maybe Airplane.
when this
Oh,
one
that's a good
first
point.
came out, the two guys that wrote the first draft of it, like they wrote it as a satire of cop movies and like
Yeah.
blockbuster violence and how they didn't appreciate it, and then they took and gave it to the guy who writes all the Lethal Weapon movies, and they're like, "Here, can you do a draft of this?" And he's like, "Oh fuck yeah, I can take care of this. This is good. This is my bread
Yeah.
and butter." And then he just made it like 10 times more exaggerated than everything they had in the first place. Because
Yeah.
that's what
Shane Black has gone on record.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shane Black's gone on record talking about this movie, and he was disappointed with the movie when it came out. John McTiernan was disappointed when it came out.
Yeah.
It's everybody kind of just walked away being like, "Well, that happened."
Arnold's not as disappointed with it, which I appreciate. I actually really like this among his filmography.
It's got good stuff in it. It's just very, very messy. My biggest problem was that it never lands on a tone. It can
Yeah.
never. It's like it's sometimes it's extremely dark. Sometimes it's goofy and over the top. Sometimes it's funny. Sometimes it's dark and serious. Like
yeah, it does
we
play it a little serious, like for good, especially towards the back half of the movie, which I think that works because you're going into the real world where
Right,
things
exactly.
are dark and serious
I think they
versus
do a
when
really
you're
good
in the
job.
movie, it is silly.
Yeah, they separate
Yeah.
those universes tonally really well, because even at the beginning, this kid's getting mugged in his own house. Like, he doesn't even have to leave
Yeah.
home to get attacked by strangers in the night.
Yeah.
And then in the movie universe, everything goes great. Bombs go off and blow up whole houses full of people, and there's not a single fatality. Everybody's
Yeah.
fine because
Yeah.
it's a movie.
that first car chase where they're going down the highway and all the cars are just blowing up for no
Right.
reason. Like, it's a movie.
Yeah.
It's all good. I always thought that it was a little bit silly that the movies that he is in are called Jack Slater. I was like, that's a stupid name.
I
Fast forward
love
10
Jack
years
Slater
later-
as a name.
Fast forward 10 years later, there's John Wick. 1, 2,
Yep.
3, 4. So,
Although there would
And those are
definitely
some of
not
your
be.
favorite films, Jesse.
they are. Yeah.
There's no way they would make another Jack Slater though after this one, because Danny Madigan broke the character. He's like meta.
Yeah.
Like the whole last act of the movie is just him talking about how films are made and that they're both fictional characters. People would walk out so disappointed.
Yeah, that's something I always had a problem was that the logic of the end of the movie is that if we kill Schwarzenegger in the real world, we can kill Jack Slater.
I mean,
I mean, I guess this magic also works as time travel logic.
Or the fact that they can't recast.
Oh,
But
that's
the other
the
movies
sequel
still
there.
exist. What if Jack Slater went into one of his previous movies and met up with another younger version of Jack Slater?
that would be called The Sixth Day, right?
I didn't see that one, so couldn't tell you.
We discussed putting that on the list at some point, and we were just kind of like, yeah, that movie's just incredibly boring.
I mean, there's a
We're-
few Arnold versus Arnold moments that I think there's something like that in Total Recall where he's like standing in front of his own hologram and stuff like that too.
Yeah, but just the Sixth Day is just
Look, there's
Really
only
boring.
one. It has nothing to do with Schwarzenegger, but there's only one film and one actor that I want to see where he fights himself, and that's Fanboys, where Seth Rogen fights Seth Rogen as a Trekkie and a Star Wars head. Like,
Mhm.
Wait, I didn't know he also played the Star Wars fan or the Trekkie in that.
so
Yeah, he plays both.
he plays
Wow,
three
I don't know how
characters.
that went by
So
me.
he plays three characters actually in Fanboys. He plays the pimp of the escorts.
That's right, yeah.
Star Wars, who's the Star
It is the
Wars
Jar Jar
fan.
Binks tattoo.
Yes, he plays the main Trekkie, and then he also plays like the Trekkie guard who leads them to Will Shatner,
Oh yeah,
who's like badges, you like that. So he plays three roles in that film.
Nice.
And
as soon as you said it, I pictured the Star Trek fan. I'm like, oh yeah, that's totally like his face. But I've only seen Fanboys all the way through once. I need to go watch that one again.
oh,
You
so
should
good.
go rewatch it. You
It's
should
so
rewatch
good.
it. Yeah.
That's a great film.
I got a
Back
couple of notes.
Schwarzenegger.
Back to Schwarzenegger. I got a couple of notes. This one has my favorite puns from Arnold because they're so dumb. Like, hey, you want to be a farmer? Here's a couple of acres. And kicks
Right.
him in the walls. He's like, that's pretty good.
But at least they're like on purpose this time around.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of
Yeah.
on purpose, I think my favorite line in the whole film comes from Charles Dance, though, when he shoots the guy in the alleyway and he's like, "Hello,
Yes.
I've just shot someone. I did it on purpose." And it's just like
That-
looking around and nobody cares. They're like, "Shut up."
Yeah.
Charles Dance is fucking fantastic in
Yeah.
this movie. Like
That's one of my notes. That's one of my notes. Charles Dance loves his job.
yeah, one of my favorite like villain performances, to be honest. Like he said, and him constantly just talking shit about his boss.
Yeah. Well, I guess on set he wore a shirt that said "cheaper than Alan Rickman" because Alan Rickman turned down the role because they weren't going to pay him enough, and
Oh
so
my
he just literally
gosh.
like
Wow.
embraced that reputation. So,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean the cast in general. There's so many good cameos. Like I forgot Ian McKellen has a cameo in this.
Oh yeah, that's another note. Maybe I want to go back and rewatch The Seventh Seal.
Yeah,
I love the premiere part too, where you can tell Arnold just called in every celebrity favor he had to be like,
Oh yeah.
"Please
Hey,
don't
you
let
want
me
to show up
play
for a
the
day?
scene."
yeah. You got your other T1000 per
Oh, right,
appearance, which I think is like 4 movies he's appeared in.
Yeah.
I think it's 4. Yeah.
I don't know the fourth one. I watched a list actually the other day. I didn't know the 4th movie, but
One of them's
'cause, yeah, he has this Wayne's World, yeah,
Yeah.
and then some other movie that I'm not familiar with. But yeah,
Something else.
the Sylvester Stallone to do the poster for Terminator.
Right. Yeah.
Sharon Stone, Tina Turner, like there's Danny DeVito again.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is the third of the Danny DeVito movies. Where he
he's
shows
just
up
a
as the
cartoon
animated cat. He's the cartoon cat. Yeah, and everyone's just like completely okay with a cartoon cat just being in the police station. It's like he's always there. He just got
Yeah.
promoted.
Yeah.
Just Jesus Christ. Oh god.
I also love the building they're using for the police station in the universe. Because that building, I used to work in that building. It's the Sony
Oh,
Music
really?
Room. Yeah. So it's right across the street from the Sony lot in Culver City, but it's where they do all the music work for. So I worked on a TV show that was on Sony Entertainment Television on their A&E channel. And whenever we needed to do music clearance stuff, I would go through that building and I walk through that lobby. The interior is the same interior you see in the film, but obviously there's no offices. It was just an empty lobby, but they would have big glass display cases of movie props and stuff. So like the proton packs were there, and like all
Oh,
these other
man.
cool like
So
Sony movie props were
cool.
there. Yeah,
And it looks so good as like a Hollywood police station.
yeah, and apparently
yeah.
they used that same building in Running Man as like the television studio.
That's the Games Network building. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a way to save money. You don't have to pay
Right,
for
yeah.
your locations. Yeah.
Exactly.
They did that a lot on what was it, Sons of Anarchy. Whenever they would have to shoot inside of a building, they just shoot inside the production office and just say, "Yeah, it's the police station." It's
There you
literally
go.
just the executive producer's office. It's literally it. Just like, yeah, just use it. You don't have to pay me. It's fine. Yeah. In terms of the action, there's great set pieces. I don't know if I can really buy them though, because they establish that they're in a movie,
Yeah.
and because of that, all the tension's kind of taken away because they establish, yeah, Jack Slater can't be hurt, die, whatever it is.
Right.
So it kind of diffuses about a third of the movie for me.
Yeah, I think that's why I actually think the back half of the movie is maybe some of the strongest. I enjoy the set. Yeah, I do enjoy the set pieces because like they do try to establish that, like the scene where he's playing chicken with the car and he's like, "Oh well, I can't die" or whatever. He's like, "Oh wait, I'm a sidekick, I could die." I mean, he doesn't, but you know, in terms that like, oh yeah, it's all based around Schwarzenegger. Like he's untouchable to a point.
But I also
Yeah.
like the other game of chicken where he's in the alleyway and he crashes head on into the cab. And it's like, at first you think, oh, they're
God
relying on
damn it, that hurt.
Yeah, but you think they're relying on Danny's rules of like, oh, well, the hero can't get killed. But he's like, yeah, but this is also the real world where a head-on collision would be protected by these specific safety measures in this specific vehicle. So it's like trying to explain it away to be like, yeah, but in reality, this would also not kill a person. What we're talking about doing here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not Furious 7 where Vin Diesel just gets out like he didn't just have a massive head-on collision.
Oh God.
We're
Which
not
is-
talking about that. We're not going to talk about that.
Well,
Look,
when
that's
you said
just
you
the
wanted to
moment where I
see-
loved it.
When you said you wanted to see someone fight themselves in a movie, I thought you were going to talk about The Rock, since he contractually obligated he can't lose a fight. So it's like, what would
Oh.
happen
God.
if you had two The Rocks fighting each other?
they crossed over in a movie for a second in The Rundown, which is a great
That's
movie.
right.
But yeah,
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger sees him in passing.
Yeah, and he says, "Have fun," and it's kind of
Yeah.
like passing the torch. Like Schwarzenegger is saying, like, "You're the next Arnold," and then,
And then he was in nothing but garbage until Fast Five.
What a disappointment! I'm sure that stinger at the end of Black Adam's going to pay off at some point, guys. I promise.
At some point.
I guess Macaulay Culkin came pretty close to being Danny Madigan in this.
I can kind of see that. Yeah,
because they're about the same age at the same time.
Compare this to Page Master. It's just Page Master. It's all it is.
Well, it's
and I don't. Did this kid do
Master,
anything else?
Well, he was in My Girl 2, which Macaulay was in the first one.
Yeah.
Oh God, he was. I never saw My Girl 2. But...
So My Girl 2 was 1 year after this, and they both feature Austin O'Brien, and they both feature important scenes centered around the La Brea Tar Pits. Because
nice.
With this one, it's like a fake version of the La Brea Tar Pits, and then in that movie, they actually go to them.
Yeah, I also haven't seen My Girl 2, so I might have to.
The first one was traumatic enough.
Yeah, I don't think the second one is a must-see situation either. But
okay.
I mean, I'm never going to turn down an opportunity to see some Anna Chlumsky in a movie. She's always great. So
I worked with her on Veep. She was on Veep
awesome.
seasons 1 through 1 through 6? I think she left in season 7. I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's super nice.
Yeah,
very professional. Yeah, super great person.
When I saw In the Loop, I was like, why has she not been working this whole time? Like, she's super funny and she's still adorable. Like, this is crazy that we aren't utilizing Anna Chlumsky more.
I think she went off to go to university and study, and then she came back to acting after that point. Yeah. Whereas this kid that played Danny Madigan, I think he's out of the business. As far as I'm aware, he left.
Looks like his last movie was like 2015. He was in the 2 Lawnmower Man movies.
Oh,
really? Okay.
That's right.
Yeah.
First one's okay. Second one, no, skip it.
The biggest thing I see on his filmography later in the career is Bones. Which like he just did like one. Yeah, it looks like he did 1 episode.
Yeah.
Like I think he works. Sorry.
TV show.
Like I think he works in this movie, like for what he's trying to do. He is that like annoying. He was me as a kid. He's that annoying nerd kid who won't stop talking about movies.
Yeah, it's kind of like Scott Pilgrim without powers, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Also,
just a little irritating, a little annoying.
Yeah, and one thing that did jump out to me during this rewatch is like the introduction to the magic of the movie happens literally like 2 minutes before the magic actually takes place.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, by the way, I have this ticket.
Man, it just bolts into the plot.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it really is like the setup that kind of like drags it down a little bit for me.
Yeah.
But it's a fun movie. It's like, all right, let's just get to it. And then when we get to it, I'm like all in until the end. I actually love that like he's playing this unstoppable like action hero, but he has this whole past about his child that died and how they kind of bring that back around towards the end of the movie.
Yeah, that's a nice little way to tie things up. I don't know if it's completely successful because that's not a great way to open a movie is seeing a kid get killed on screen. I don't know if that's a great way to open a movie.
They don't technically show it there. You find out later what actually happened.
And they're also very careful to avoid pointing out that, hey, you know what you could use this ticket to do? Go save your son's life. It would take 2
Yeah,
seconds.
what?
Pull your kid out of the screen, and then we're done.
I mean, that's like a time travel storyline. If you go back and kill Hitler, would you do it?
Yeah.
It's like
you're calling his son
whatever.
Hitler? Is that what you're saying? You're saying Jack Slater's son is Hitler?
I mean,
get him, Patrick. Get him.
We never did see what happened to the kid after the end of the movie, so who knows what happened?
Yeah. Maybe the Ripper saved.
He learned something that day. Hatred.
Oh no. I'm not going down that road. I'm moving on.
About Brightburn?
Jesus Christ. That sucks. We're not getting a sequel to that. That sucks.
Also, a great hero introduction. I like him walking across the cop cars playing that like guitar riff.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the most, it's like America, the person.
Yeah.
That's what he is. Like he's got the snakeskin boots. He's got a Desert Eagle, which a cop would never carry.
And a closet full of just duplicates.
The same jacket, the same boots. Yeah. It's like, how'd you know there's a guy in there? There's always a guy in there.
There's always a guy in there.
Doesn't even phase him.
I kind of wish now that they had done one Jack Slater movie first, or maybe even 3. Do the whole trilogy of Jack Slater movies and then lead into Last Action Hero.
That would have been amazing.
I would have been down for that.
We pitched that as how they should have done the Matrix 4.
Oh my god!
That the first 3 were actually just Matrix movies, and then the 4th one is just, oh, it's Keanu Reeves in the real world. But it's like, no, you're actually Neo.
That's
You're actually in the Matrix.
That's literally exactly what I was just pitching for Jack Slater, and I'm realizing now that that's a terrible idea because Matrix 4 was so bad.
It's
I don't.
passable.
I'm not having this conversation.
No, we're not doing
I
it.
love NPH. Shut up.
Oh my
We're
god!
not going down that. We're up to 45 minutes. We're going on to the next one. Okay, so if you have alcohol, take a shot. It was a rough one, folks. Batman and Robin.
Is it that?
Yes,
bad? You're right.
I
You're
fucked
right.
around on my phone for 80% of this movie. Damn it,
Yeah.
Batman and Robin.
I have a theory that, like, people I had tons of people like to watch bad movies for fun and laugh at them, and sure,
Yeah.
this is a prime candidate for stuff like that. I have a theory that there's a limited amount of times I can watch movies like this, and I hit my limit multiple years ago with this one, and I have not watched it since.
Made the right call.
Yeah. But I would put this in a very specific category of 1-star movies that have 5-star soundtracks, along with Godzilla 1998 and Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Yes,
That's
yes. Absolutely.
That's fantastic.
Even the score, the Elliot Goldenthal score, that is my big positive. Elliot Goldenthal score, fantastic.
The Elliot Goldenthal Batman theme is amazing. Like,
yeah, when you think of it, you just know it right away. Da, 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 da. Like, it's perfect. Perfect for that kind of Batman.
Batman Forever I can still watch, like, it because it has, like, its moments where it's still kind of like a good movie, where Joel Schumacher was really trying, man, but the studio was just kind of getting in the way.
Yeah.
And this is the one where he's like, oh, you just want to make a toy commercial,
Right?
And kind of seeing him just like make a toy commercial.
I hadn't watched the Schumacher films in a while, and so I started this one, and it hits the ground running so crazily that it's like literally instantly jump in the car and go right to the scene of the first fight. And I was like,
and is that the only
the
time? Is that the only time you see Commissioner Gordon in this movie?
Maybe.
No, he's in there a couple times.
Oh yeah, he's
Like,
Poison Ivy seduces.
yeah.
But Poison Ivy
that's
seduces
right.
him to get the keys. Yeah, there's a couple times.
What a, like, downward trajectory of that character throughout these first 4 movies.
Yeah. I mean, Schumacher, when he was on the set, he would get on a megaphone and go, "Remember, everybody, it's cartoon."
Yeah.
Not a great precedent to set for your movie.
Yeah.
The only reason I own the Blu-ray for this movie is
Same in the
because
back.
I wanted to listen to the commentary track where he apologized.
Yeah,
Oh my God,
he apologizes on the commentary track. If anybody was offended by this, I'm sorry. It's like, thank you. At least he did that.
And apparently,
Yeah.
Luna will literally pay you out of his pocket if you ask him about this movie. Like, what happened with your Batman movie? And he'll be like, I'm really sorry, and he'll give you your money back.
I'm sure this is going to bring up some other opinions on this that we don't need to get into, but I will say the fact that this movie exists, I laughed out loud at his appearance at the end of The Flash.
I was literally thinking you're going to talk about the Flash cameo, weren't you?
I was, which I'll say I'm a fan of The Flash, and that's a conversation that can be had another day. But like
That's a whole other thing.
when that happened, I couldn't help myself.
Yeah, that was a last minute addition. Originally, you kind of saw like a shoulder, and then it cuts back to Barry, and he goes, "Who the fuck is this guy?" And then it rolls credits, and everyone's kind of like, "Well, who was it?"
Right.
Then they at the last minute got Clooney, and they shot his stuff real quick.
Well, I think there was also like 10 different endings to that movie, because there's also stuff in the trailer for the original ending where Supergirl is also there, and they imply that the new version was going to be Keaton and Supergirl, because then Keaton would lead into the Batgirl movie that we'll never see.
Right.
Yeah. That'll slip out eventually. Nothing ever stays secret
I
for very
fucking
long.
hope so. I wanted to see that so bad.
Well, Warner Brothers and Discovery are apparently now planning to break up because they're running out of money. Yeah.
Jesus
They're already
Christ.
planning to split. Yeah, David Zaslav is a huge asshole, and he's a terrible executive. Not a good person.
It seems so anti-art the way that they've been running the studio since they took.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I just hope that James Gunn's Superman is genuinely good.
Yeah, I am
he's got
very
good
excited
ratings
for it.
ratings so far, and like the test shots and everything I've seen, like it's looking good.
Yeah, they're almost done shooting. They're almost done. A couple
Plus,
more weeks,
James
and they're done.
Gunn is James Gunn.
Yeah.
It's just how much is the studio going to step out of the way?
I feel like at this
He
point they
literally
have
is
no
the
choice but
studio,
to.
though.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Literally the studio at this point.
But
so-
he does have to answer
I
to
mean,
some
yes,
level.
to some level, yes, but at the same time, they're like, I don't think they can afford not to.
Yeah. I feel like
Yeah,
they hired him and put him in the position because they want him to do it his way.
Right.
So I feel like
Yeah.
he's going to have more control than you would expect.
The budget on that is over $300 million.
Oh my god, really?
That's a
Yeah,
problem.
Yeah, but guys, you got to stop doing this. You seriously, you cannot keep rolling these dice like this.
But
You
this
can't
feels
keep
like
doing
the
it.
Heaven's Gate situation where you specifically give them a blank check to prove to them that we should never do this again. Never let a
Why is
solitary
it so
boy
high?
put a movie together.
The amount of cameos, the amount of connection to other characters, actors' salaries, visual effects.
But like, who's the biggest
locations.
name actor in this movie at this point?
Who's the biggest name in the movie?
Like, I feel like it's Nicholas Holt.
Yeah.
And he,
Yeah, you're actually
like,
kind
as
of right.
much-
Maybe it isn't
as-
actors. What is
As
it
much
then?
as I love Nicholas Holt, he's not that big of a pull. Like
No.
compared to-
Oh, I know what it is. I know what it is. The strikes. The strikes.
Oh,
That ran up the budget because they had to keep postponing over and over and over again.
Also-
you have to hold actors. You have to hold actors on retainer while the strike was happening.
did they cast anybody before the strike though? I don't remember.
I think that David
like
Cornsett and
three people, I think.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. It was Lex, Superman, and Lois Lane. That
Also,
it.
there
That
was
it.
active development on a Man of Steel 2 at one point. Did they have to absorb for that as well? Maybe.
They're rolling that cost into it.
Possibly. Who knows? I don't know. Anyways, we're not here to talk about that. So Batman and Robin.
Here's how much we don't want to talk about Batman and Robin. Folks.
We do this all the time when Film Rescue was going. We don't want to talk about the movie because it's bad.
Here's
All right,
a fun
I'm gonna-
fact related to the shirt I'm wearing from my old podcast. I've read the script for this movie. There are more ice puns in the script than are in the movie.
Wow.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's great.
I believe it.
I
believe
never
it.
read through the whole script, but in the first basically the first opening scene, there I counted at least 6 puns in the script that were not in the movie. Also, all the ones in the movie were in the script. So
Right, of course.
Oh my
That's-
god.
that's how many ice puns they were cramming into this thing.
How do you even think of that many? Like I don't.
Oh, the ones they cut out were also worse than what you see.
Oh, so bad.
Oh, God. Well, I mean,
I think the only good one that he did in the whole movie was at the very end where he's like, "Take 2 and call me in the morning."
I was thinking that too.
Yeah.
That was like the best one that he did, I think.
Yeah. Because that actually means something. It's part of the plot. It's heartfelt.
Exactly.
What
It
is
sucks that we have to go
his
through the rest of the movie to get to it.
what is his best acting in this movie? Like, if you had to point to one scene in this movie where like that's why you got Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I mean, Arnold is top billed in this movie, so they're
He was.
leaning on this
Yeah.
guy. He is top billed. Actually, he was the reason why this movie got made the way that it did because they were locked on a release, so they had to cast somebody, and he was the biggest star in the world at the time. They're like, we don't have anybody else. We want you, and we're willing to pay you whatever you ask. So it's either you do it, and we pay you what you ask, or you're the person that held up the Batman franchise, and then Batman 4 gets canceled. So he just said, yeah, okay, I'll do it just as a favor. Sure, why not?
Yeah.
I think the best scene for him when he's in prison and he's making a little ice sculpture, he's not saying anything.
Sure.
That helps.
Because this is a terrible version of Victor Freeze. This is awful.
I mean,
Not that I've read much Victor Freeze in the comics. I've read maybe 1 or 2 stories, but
I mean, let's be honest. Everyone's frame of Mr. Freeze comes from Heart of Ice, the Batman animated series episode.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is
Isn't his introduction also in a museum with dinosaurs?
I haven't
Doesn't
watched it in a little bit.
he freezes the fossils and somebody asks him why? And he's like, why not?
I have the whole series. I might have to go back and
Intro,
watch
but-
it.
I don't think that's his
Yeah.
intro, but that is something that happened.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen the old animated series.
You guys know what killed the
Yeah.
dinosaurs? It's the ice.
The Ice Age.
The Ice Age. Also, not
God.
even true. It was a meteor.
No.
Not what killed the dinosaurs. Famously, not. What
No,
killed
it
the
was a meteor. God damn it. Yeah, so you can at the very least you could do a drinking game with this movie. Anytime a ice pun comes up, just take a shot.
You would
You'll be
die.
dead by the end of the movie. Yeah, you die.
You can also connect
The end
back
truly
to,
is the beginning is the end.
with Kindergarten Cop. This is our second film where his partner is posing as his sister. because we have the scene where they're eating dinner at the
Oh
restaurant.
yeah,
yeah.
His partner, and
that's
then
right.
here Poison Ivy's
That's
pretending
right.
to be his sister to come break him out. So
Yeah, it was kind of
Fair,
cute to
fair.
have John Glover in here as can't remember that doctor's name, but he's playing Floronic Man. from the
Jason
comics.
Woodrow or Woodrow.
Jason Woodrow. It's Floronic Man. He's a Swamp Thing character.
Right.
Yeah.
he was
I
great on
haven't read
the
the Swamp
2019
Thing. So
Swamp
that's-
Thing show.
Oh, really?
He's in the Swamp. He's
No,
in the Swamp Thing
not
show?
Glover, but Florian Man is.
Oh, the character.
Oh,
Yeah,
gotcha.
I've never really interacted with
it.
anything Swamp Thing, so
Yeah,
Alan Moore run is great. Everything else, maybe check out some of the Jeff Lemire, Josh Dysart stuff, but otherwise, it's depends on who's writing it.
yeah.
It depends.
I read some like Justice League Dark stuff. He popped up in a little bit. That's
Oh,
really
okay.
my only interaction with
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, the 2019 series was the Alan Moore arc for the
Yeah.
character.
And I heard that show was pretty good. So
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Can't
just
find
watched
it anymore,
for our Swamp
unfortunately.
Thing review recently, so I just went through that.
Yeah,
whole
where
franchise.
is it? It's not on HBO Max. It's or whatever it is, Max.
I thought
It's
they
not there
put
anymore.
it back somewhere.
Yeah, I think it is now, or it's on the DCU, whatever their specific streaming service was that had like a lot of DC stuff on it.
I don't
But it
know.
also
You
aired on
can
television.
buy it on Amazon.
Oh, okay.
You can
Oh.
buy the DVD Blu-ray on Amazon. So
Okay, cool. All right, so here's a challenge. Everybody, name one good thing in this movie.
It's on Tubi.
You don't have to pay for it. That's cheating.
No,
Something
I meant-
in the
I meant
movie.
Swamp Thing.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about like you'd have to pay for Batman and Robins.
It was perfect timing how it was.
I'll name two things.
Okay.
I love Uma Thurman just overacting in this,
Yes.
like just chewing
Yeah.
the scenery in this movie. And I'm a big Nightwing fan, so I like the Robin suit.
I was
Alicia
disappointed with the Poison
Silverstone.
Ivy suit, though. I wish they could have done more with her because she's just wearing like a leotard the whole time.
She looks like a ballet dancer, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to see a new Poison Ivy like in something. She's been underutilized.
Yeah.
Well,
She only just shows.
I was about to say she's mainly in the Harley Quinn animated show.
Which
is
the
fantastic.
thing.
Yeah, which is great. Kite Man finally got his spinoff. Thank God. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny too.
Batman.
Speaking of Glover, though, because he's in this and he's sort of the father of Bane, sort of by creating him, but he's also
Oh, this ain't Bane.
yeah, but he's
What
also
are you talking
the
about? He
father
says his name constantly.
but he's also the father of the villain in the first Shazam movie, and he's also the father of Lex Luthor on the Smallville show. So it's like he has.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's kind of just been.
Man.
He's one of those. Yeah, that guy actors. He was in Gremlins too.
Gremlins 2 was my
Yeah,
favorite. Yeah, as Clamp.
yeah. He's kind of pops up. Yeah, he's great.
Oh, he voiced the Riddler in the animated series.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Perfect.
He's in-
Perfect.
He's also the bad guy, or one of the bad guys in Scrooged. That's like taking over the studio.
Oh, nice.
Frank.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Love Scrooge.
Oh, God.
Oh, one thing I forgot to bring up. In Kindergarten Cop, Bill Murray was one of the original choices instead of Arnold
Right.
Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
I
guess-
don't see
Okay.
that.
Elijah
I
Wood
No.
auditioned to play Dom.
Definitely would have been a different movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we said, that was a vehicle for Arnold. That was really for Arnold.
Yeah.
Okay, so Hope, name something positive in this movie.
I love Alicia Silverstone.
There you
I
go. Okay.
I love her. I think she brought that edge to it that it needed, because Robin was just like a shithead. Clooney just did not care about the film.
Yeah.
And she was the only one who's like, I want to be Batgirl, and
And
She's
she
like-
caught like a lot of shit during the filming of this. Like people
Right,
like
she
came
was-
at her for like her body and stuff.
I was like, no, she's a healthy, good-looking girl. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I love
She's
her.
she's fine in this movie. She's putting in the work. She's doing good with what she's
Yeah.
got.
yeah, like
What she's got
Nothing
isn't
like
good.
backstory.
but-
She's the only one who's like
Wow,
pumped
excuse me.
to be
Oh,
in
bless you.
here. I feel like
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
Yeah, she's
I-
nothing like the character's backstory in the comics, but whatever. None of this is from the comics.
Yeah, at this
Exactly.
point, that's not
for
even a
what it
criticism.
is, she, I think, is the height of the film. For what it's giving.
It's building to the Bat family, basically.
Yeah.
Also,
I was glad that
what's his name?
Goff
Michael.
that he got. so
Yeah,
much
Michael
credit
Goff.
in it.
He's always great in all these movies. Like he's
Oh, yeah.
doing the thing.
And you would think he'd be stepping into the background by the fourth film, but it's like here he gets like the most central arc of any of his movies.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he's the linchpin that connects these 4 movies. Yeah, there was apparently plans for a 5th one after this called Batman Triumphant, I think is what it was called.
Well,
And
there's like 19 different titles. Yeah, Unchained,
Oh,
Triumphant. I think Unchained was the actual like title.
yeah, there was that plans for the BVS movie, which was back then. That didn't go off. That didn't get off the ground.
Right.
Yeah.
And Robin was going to get a solo film after Unchained, I think. That was like the next double of movies. It was going to be like Harley Quinn and Scarecrow.
With Nicolas Cage tapped for Scarecrow.
And I guess Goldblum came really close on that too for
Yeah.
Scarecrow.
Oh,
I would watch the Goldblum one.
That
for
would have been
sure.
awesome.
Yeah.
That'd been great. Yeah. A lot of people said this like killed comic book movies forever, and for at least like
it was like a
until-
year later.
Yeah, Blade's a year later, and then you get the first X-Men after that. It's like this didn't. They killed Batman movies.
Yeah.
I was about to say that was DC.
Right.
Everything else after was Marvel.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
everybody.
what was the next DC movie? Was that Batman Begins, or did Catwoman happen before that? When was Catwoman?
But that was a
Was it
bomb.
Catwoman? Yeah. Oh yeah,
Uh,
Catwoman was 2004.
Oh, wait.
yeah.
When was Batman Begins? Was it also 2004?
That was 5.
Oh wow,
5.
yeah. So I mean, that probably was
Yeah.
already in development.
I know Feige points to this movie as being really important, that it's like, hey, maybe we should be consulting people who care at all about the comic books if we're going to be
Yes.
adapting them to the big screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Kevin Smith talking about when he was working on that Superman movie, and he asked them, like, why don't you get the comic writers to do it? And like, well, those are comic writers. And now, like, comic writers are helping build the DC universe right now.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Like there's literally photos of like Tom King and all those different writers sitting in the room with
Yeah.
James Gunn. It's like, yeah, get the good people to do this.
Yeah. And I just read that Tom King Supergirl book, and it's fucking incredible. So if he's working on the
so
movie,
good.
like, I wish it was still Sasha doing Supergirl, because I think everyone agrees out of the Flash she was amazing. And I think she would actually pull that off very well, having read that story. But regardless, the fact that like he's in on it, Tom King's been one of my favorite writers in comics, like over the last few years.
Yeah. DMV local, by the way, lives in Virginia.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'll pick my positive. Soundtrack. I like the soundtrack. I've mentioned that before. Ellie Goldenthal's score, and I like the overall music that was picked for the movie. That's all I got.
Yeah.
The worst Batmobile of all time.
Oh God, it's terrible.
I told you, chicks dig the car.
Oh my god. That's the opening line of the movie.
Yeah.
Ugh.
The fin is so like flimsy. It looks like it's about to fly off.
Also, it's just an open cockpit situation.
Right.
All you need is Deadshot to show up and boom. That's it. Done.
It was good enough for Adam West. We can have a convertible Batman.
That's fine.
Hey, Adam West was a legend.
Yeah, and at least that had 2 seats.
That's true.
Yeah, like if you're capturing criminals, where do you put them?
You drive
Well,
him
Arkham
back
Knight
to-
solved that. Yeah,
Oh God, Jesus Christ.
that is the Punisher Batman.
Oh God, damn it. Yeah, didn't it have like an electric field around the car so you can like knock people out of the way so nobody gets killed or something like that?
In like the Arkham games, I think so.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
also, yeah, the back of it like opened up into seats is where he would like store people.
Oh, okay. Cool. The one thing I don't think of when I think of Batman is tank combat. That's the one thing I don't think of.
That's the-
Yeah,
You don't like the bat trunk and the bat.
The
Bat
cannon.
credit card.
the bat
Oh, jeez. Oh, God.
on Batman. Fucking-
God, yeah.
I will
Yeah,
say
this-
they put out action figures for this movie recently, and you know, in my
Oh, no.
in my toy collecting, I have them. I like them quite a bit.
Do they have nips?
Yeah.
Oh
better.
shit! You know what? I might have to pull them out and look.
Go get them.
Yeah.
I got to see this.
Hold on, that's
I
right
need
behind me.
proof.
Let me dig.
Okay. Find them. I got to see this.
I need proof of these figures.
Yeah. Is this the most sexualized comic book movie?
I think most sexualized, but for the time, I think it is.
Yeah, which is weird because it's like it's made for kids,
Right.
and yet there's all this weird sex stuff in the middle of it.
Yeah, how she's
Um,
like how they're Poison Ivy's like egging on, like, oh, get the old bat out of the way and get that young hot stud. Like,
Right.
what the fuck?
And as
Yeah,
she's
it's
auctioning off everything you see and everything you don't, like she's literally just like, I will sleep with whoever bids on me here.
Right.
Oh my god! So she's a high class escort. Great. Oh my god.
You mean fanboys again?
Oh yeah. It's fanboys again. It's all fanboys again. God damn it. Yeah.
Hey, I meant escort. The difference being, I don't know.
There, he's found them. He has found them.
I can confirm nips.
Oh my
Yeah.
God!
Oh my
Hold it up to the camera. I got to see this.
So I found the Robin. We'll see if it shows. But
Oh
there's definitely
Jesus
some nips on there.
Christ!
Perfect.
Somebody took the time and handcrafted the model for this.
He's a good figure, though. I like him.
I mean, it looks like Chris O'Donnell. Great.
The likeness is great.
That's a great figure, but goddamn.
It's a nice, quick, little, easy paycheck for Chris O'Donnell because it's his appearance. Just goes to the studio, holds out his hand, and a check falls into it. Congratulations,
Oh my God.
you found it.
I didn't find the Clooney one, but I found Kilmer, and like surprisingly, the face sculpts on these actually look quite a bit for just being like a mouth.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Like-
that they're 3D models.
That looks like Val Kilmer. No nips on Val Kilmer. I don't remember if they had nips on the Batman Forever one.
They did. They did.
So this
I
is
guess
like
they changed them.
this is the sonar suit, the one he wears at the very end, not like the normal
Oh,
suit.
yeah.
That's
So I don't
different.
think that one has it. I wish they would
Yeah,
put
they
out
have
the normal suit.
The nips fuck with the sonar. You can't have the nips on.
Especially if it's
Too much
cold.
in budget.
Yeah. Speaking of which, every single time they do a scene change in this movie, everybody's wearing a different costume or driving a different vehicle or has new grappling guns everywhere. It's a toy movie. It's a straight up toy movie. That's what it is.
I had a lot of the toys.
Yeah. I had a lot of those Batman Returns toys, which not really the most appropriate movie to make toys for kids, but we got them.
I had a lot of the animated series figures, but I definitely had I had the Batmobile for Forever and Batman and Robin, and I was like, man, even back then I was like, this Batmobile sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a lot of the animated series action figures. That was my big one, was because that was like my favorite. I love the animated series. I
Yeah.
love it.
Mhm.
I
It's like
recently
it's like
bought like all of the seasons on iTunes, just so it's like kind of become when I fly, it's like the thing I'll download is a bunch of different episodes.
Oh, I have the
Quick,
DVD,
easy episodes.
sir. I
Yeah.
have the
Yeah.
DVDs.
Ooh,
I have them too, but it's like they're all packed away in storage, so it's like I need easy access to these. So I went and bought all the seasons.
Did you
It's
guys
like having
catch,
the
by
physical
way-
media of a movie, and then you just have it on like HBO Max or Amazon. You're just like, I'm just gonna watch it here.
Yeah,
Too lazy to get out
Look,
the DVDs or Blu-rays.
DVDs are for when the world ends. Okay?
exactly.
Perfect.
Yeah, when the world caves in, all that's gonna be left is physical media.
Yeah,
Hoard up
I mean-
everything you can.
I bought like my first physical media in a while recently, which was the Obi-Wan Kenobi show.
Oh,
Just
okay.
'cause-
I'm about to get that 4-disc collector's edition of Godzilla.
Oh, nice.
The -1. Yeah, like it comes with like a booklet and everything. I'm like, ooh, I'm getting that, baby.
It's the original film plus black and white.
Ah,
Oh, so cool. Oh,
I'm about
so
to get
good.
that shit.
I rewatch that.
When I was doing my
So
research
good.
for this, I came across a bit of trivia that this is not Arnold's first Batman movie. Did you guys catch that?
It's not?
No, because he's actually in.
Explain.
He's in Batman Returns because there's a scene in Max Schreck's office where his secretary goes to a table and there's a wall of pictures of Max Schreck with.
That's
celebrities.
right.
One of the pictures is with Arnold Schwarzenegger. So it's either
I don't-
Mr. Freeze just not wearing a shirt for some
Really
reason.
sneaky,
Wow.
sis.
So he's in
Wow.
that with DeVito, technically.
That
Oh
might
my
actually
God.
make me read.
They all
Batman
connect.
Returns.
They're all connected.
That's
They're-
amazing.
I thought we were only going to get 3 out of 4. Apparently, they are all connected.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Wow. Oh, my God. Oh, this is good. This is good. It's. I will say, I think Batman and Robin was a necessary evil to get to where we are now.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
we had to go through this thing to get to things like Blade and the X-Men movies.
Look,
and
my
the next
favorite
one.
Batman movie exists because this movie exists. So,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
Batman Begins, like I know a lot of people will be like, "Oh, The Dark Knight" or The Batman, which I also love. Like The Dark Knight may be a better movie, but Batman Begins to me is the better Batman movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So necessary evil.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to just plow through the shit to tend your fields. So
I also love how we barely actually talked about Schwarzenegger in the Batman.
well, the issue is that
I know.
he's just so all his performance is puns.
I know.
Yeah,
And
That's unfortunately it. He's not utilized correctly.
I was just saying it's funny because it's summer. We're talking about Schwarzenegger. We barely talked about him.
here's a controversial take. I don't hate the like Mr. Freeze suit for like the movie that this is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it was like to wear that
Awesome.
thing.
No, he said it was very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Did his heart attack happen before or after this movie?
After I think.
That's what I thought. Because it was End of Days after that. Because I think that was the first movie he did post his heart attack. I think
That I do not know. That I do not know.
It-
I
it-
remember-
Why would he eat the Pepto-Bismol garbage smoothie?
Oh God damn.
maybe it's backwards. Because I know one of the movies happened. He had a heart attack, and then he was like really hard to insure for the next one, and he had to like kind of prove that he could do it. And I can't remember in what order that happened.
I also remember some years later that he was in a motorcycle accident on the 101 freeway, and so my dad was with the Los Angeles Fire Department as an EMT and arrived to the call and picked him up when he had crashed his motorcycle on the freeway, and they put him in the ambulance. They were driving back to the hospital, and his phone kept ringing, and it was his wife calling, and my dad was like, "Your phone's ringing again. It looks like it's your wife. Did you want me to answer, or do you want to just leave it?" And he's like, "Just leave it. I told her I wasn't going to be riding my motorcycle. And so I don't want to have this argument right now." And for the next like 10 years, we got Christmas cards from Arnold and his family.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I guess he sent him to the fire station, and then they sent him back home with my dad. So
Oh, nice. That's cute.
That's awesome.
It seems like a stand-up guy, to be honest,
Yeah.
for the
Okay,
most part.
First off, like anybody who loves animals as much as he does, like
Look at the donkeys. Look at the food.
yeah, like he has like,
donkey.
a farm. Like he has a farm, and like there's like clips where he's like, "Yeah, let Sylvester come and steal my animals. They'll kill him, and then I'll kill him for trying to steal my animals." Like he has like a pig, a donkey, a llama. Like he's all these things, and like dogs, and like so like.
Look, I'll say this. I watched like 5 minutes of Sylvester Stallone's reality show. I think it's more like his daughters, but he's in it. I would much rather watch one about Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. I just don't care about Sylvester Stallone anymore.
No, but I'm just saying, like, as Schwarzenegger, as a guy, like, if you love animals that much, that's like the biggest of green flags for me.
Yeah.
So, like,
I think he's gone vegetarian in the last couple of years for his health. So.
other than and also schnapps in his protein shakes.
Oh yeah, there's that too. Go back, listen to previous episodes. We discussed that. Yeah. So yeah, that's the comedy era. After this, we got a bunch of just junk movies. Collateral Damage, The Sixth Day, End of Days. We got 2 Days movies in there, huh?
I would like to point out that maybe one of his best movies was in between these ones that we talked about, which is True Lies.
Okay.
Yes, True Lies,
is
yeah.
great.
True Lies, I think, is where his comedy and his action perfectly meets. And that's
Yeah.
because Cameron doesn't miss.
Yeah. He actually brought Cameron onto that because I think they couldn't find a director, and so he was like, "Can you please just do this as like a favor to me?" And he was like, "All right, fine." Yeah, I haven't rewatched that recently. Overall, I remember enjoying it a lot, and they have a
It was
similar
one of my
sequence-
first DVDs.
Oh, there you go.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
they have a similar scene in True Lies and in Last Action Hero when the helicopter shoots through the building and you see the bullet spray out the back end.
Right.
When he shoots the missile through the building, you're fired, and blows
Yeah.
up the helicopter on their side. I was like,
Right.
"Oh, there it is. It's
So
the
good.
same scene." It's nice.
Also, like the scene where he's like talking to the horse when they're going to jump off the building.
Oh, right,
Like,
yeah.
Look at me when I'm talking to you. What kind of cop are you?
We must have had him.
Like, I feel like that is like that movie to me is peak Arnold. Like,
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
it's middle of his career, top of his game, in between some of his biggest hits and then
Mhm.
some of his biggest downfalls afterwards. Like
Yeah.
the only good movie Tom Arnold's ever done. You got Bill Paxton, Jamie Lee Curtis. It's incredible. Like, there's probably some things in it that haven't aged super well, due to the nature
Yeah.
of like the villains and stuff of that movie. But like, oh, it's so hard for me to say a bad thing about that movie.
No, it's great. It's a great piece for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, that wraps up the comedy era. Yeah, that's the good stuff and the not so good stuff. So what do we have up next? Hope, what's next week to wrap up our summer of Schwarzenegger?
We're talking about old man Schwarzenegger, man. Old man
Mhm.
Arnie. We are delving into his old man, beautiful, grumpy era. And
I am
love
so
it.
sorry.
No. Hey, there's some good stuff in there. There's some good
I
stuff.
there is, I know what you guys are going to be talking about, and there are some good ones in there. But I feel like he still has it in him. He's yet to put out his like great old man movie, and I think he will.
King Conan, I'm begging for it. I know we're never gonna get it, but I'm begging for it.
That would be a good contender
Hey,
for
man,
it.
if we hit the lottery, I'll fund it.
Fantastic.
Because
Yeah.
like, look, Dark Fate wasn't it. I mean, that
No.
movie is what it is. But like, I feel like I haven't seen Aftermath. That's one of the other ones I haven't seen yet.
Never seen it.
Maggie's my good one that I love.
Maggie's great. But yeah, I feel like he has one more like fantastic movie in him. Maybe Kung Fury 2 will be it. Is
Oh my
yet to be
God.
remained.
Yeah.
I keep
Oh,
forgetting
the movie
that
that will-
exists.
The movie that keeps getting kicked down the road over and over and over and over and over
Yeah.
because of rights issues. Jesus God.
I don't know
So,
why
yeah.
that even exists. But
The
the first one was a fine enough internet joke.
Yeah, now apparently they thought the joke was a real thing.
Mm.
I don't know.
Whatever. Let them have their fun. So yeah, thank you everybody. Thank you for. I mean, I know it's a little bit late at night for you, Hope. Sorry about that.
That's my fault.
It's all good.
It's all good. And Jeremy, thank you. Patrick, thank you. Good to have you back on.
Yeah, good to be back.
Despite my coughing, I am glad to be here.
No, I have the same thing. There's something going around. Everybody's sick these days. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Sick
So,
of
yeah.
life, baby.
Mm-hmm. And with that, good night. We'll see you for Old Man Arnie in a week.
Hey, you want to be a farmer? Here's a couple of acres. I'll be back. Hasta la vista, baby.